Let's get into the sports talk.
Deshaun Watson took the NFL by storm as a rookie in 2017. Season prematurely ended after an ACL that he told us at the Super Bowl that year was initially injured against the Seahawks on a Sunday. On a Thursday, it went. He came back strong last year, took a bunch of hits, took the Texans to the playoffs. As we said earlier, a forgotten man among elite quarterbacks. But could he end up being the best quarterback in the AFC this year, considering that the conference boasts the likes of...
He can be the best quarterback in the AFC if he don't continue to get hit like that. They got to put an offensive line around him, more targets around him, and everything to help him out. Because he took a ton of hits last year. And he can't keep getting hit like that. His body is going to tear down if they don't give him a solid offensive line.
Patrick Mahomes, Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Phillip Rivers, Baker Mayfield. My goodness.
Quarterback golden era. It's unreal. I mean, it truly is. I mean, when you're talking about, second level guys of, Nick Foles and Joe Flacco and guys like that, I mean, that's when you know you got just some unbelievable talents. But yes, I mean, I look at Deshaun Watson and certainly think he could be in the conversation for being that guy to be the best quarterback in the AFC, without a doubt. Now, will the numbers justify it as far as in the arena of public perception? That'll be really the big question, for me. Again, he doesn't have the type of offense where it's Andy Reid and Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce to where it's just going to be like the greatest show on turf and oh my gosh, look at all these plays and cool and they're going to throw it all over the place. No, that's not the style of play, and they certainly don't have the talent that a guy like Mahomes has too. So, it'll be hard, I think, numbers wise to maybe put him up in...
See, he need more talent around him to help him. Because he already got so much weight on his shoulder, he got to do everything. And that's what we heard him sometimes, because he got to do a whole lot. He got to have more playmakers around him. You don't have that much playmaking ability around him. And he needed to help him. It's not the Bill O'Brien
class of some of these other guys. I think guys like Luck and Big Ben and Mahomes will have greater numbers, but I still think the actual player and the skill set and the type of play and be able to carry your team in clutch moments and make those big plays in big moments, I think Deshaun Watson, that's where he's going to prove his worth like he has to this point in his career.
And as always, there's going to be a disconnect between statistics and actually winning football games. And it's possible that the guy who wins the most, the guy who ends up with the 1 seed, isn't a guy who ends up with the biggest numbers. I mean, right. Tom Brady last year had a contractual adjustment done before the season where he had 5 different categories, and all he had to do was rank in the same spots as he had the year before in those 5 key categories, and he didn't earn a single one of those incentives because so many other guys were better than him, but he got the one incentive that ultimately matters. He wins the Super Bowl, but right. You could have a guy who's a great quarterback but just doesn't rack up the numbers because there's going to be so many. Last year, every week, the NFL would send out a memo to the media touting all the touchdown passes, all the points being scored, and I'm sure they're going to look for the same thing and hope they get the same thing this year. There probably will be a lot of passing yards, a lot of touchdowns, but that doesn't mean you're the best quarterback just because you are racking up those kinds of numbers.
No, and again, I think that goes into the broader thing again, right? Because it's just... it's about the team, the style of play, the support you have around them, the scheme. Everything has to be, tinkered with in the offseason. And yes, it's not always on a given year going to lead itself to great stats. And like with the New England and Brady, a few years ago, they were going, hey, get in the shotgun, we're going to throw it every play. Brady, you're the man, you're the man. They changed the style of play, whether it's through draft picks and just, hey, they want to change their scheme and they realize maybe Brady's getting up there in years. Doesn't mean Brady wasn't awesome, but yeah, they wanted to change things. They wanted to become a run-first team for whatever reasons.
Yes, Texas got to change some things to take less off of him to help him. The more they take off of him, the more he could get comfortable. And I just felt like he had to do a whole lot. Just got to try to figure out and switch some things up sometimes.
Belichick decided he wanted to do that. And yeah, that can hurt your numbers that way. But certainly, yeah, I think, hey, again, those things have to be taken into account. The numbers for Cam Newton, like I've talked about before too, they're not going to be sexy in Carolina with the talent they have around them, the offense in which they play. It's a defensive coach. So yeah, that's the way it is, but doesn't mean you still can't be a special talent or in the conversation for the best player at your position just because the numbers aren't there.
Here's something that just occurred to me. We've talked so much about defenses spending the offseason, coming up with ways to stymie Patrick Mahomes.
Right.
Do you think the same obsession is going to be out there for Deshaun Watson? Maybe there's a benefit to being kind of overlooked. That between the two guys, and the AFC South teams play all of the AFC West teams, so the Raiders, Broncos, Chargers have to deal with Mahomes twice, they have to deal with Deshaun Watson once. I kind of wonder whether or not Watson lands as close to the middle of the radar screen and they spend as much time trying to figure out how to slow him down league-wide as we'll see teams league-wide devote to trying to slow down Patrick Mahomes, and that may actually benefit Deshaun Watson.
It might. Yeah, I don't think that, the target or the bullseye is not on Deshaun Watson or the Houston Texans offense back to the way it is for the Kansas City Chiefs. I would imagine a lot of teams, when you have an offense like you did in Kansas City, everybody's going to go back and reevaluate not only what they're doing on offense, but yeah, the defensive teams are going to evaluate their defensive side of the ball. For teams that might be playing Kansas City in 2019, they're going to go back and go, okay, let's evaluate Andy Reid's offense. Let's see some of the tendencies Mahomes has. Let's write that in the scouting report so we kind of have a base level of things we know and what to expect when we play them in week 8 or week 10.
Watson just need a little more help to get that team over the hump. That's all, because they got a franchise quarterback. They just need more talent around him. He don't have too much talent around him for to win a lot in the playoffs when it come down to it.
Whatever it may be. With the Houston Texans, no, I don't think there'll be quite that, dictionary of knowledge out there as far as the AFC or teams on their schedule. Now, I think teams in their division, Mike, like the AFC South, they certainly went back and probably evaluated the Texans offense thoroughly for a week or two in the offseason and went through Deshaun Watson and some of his tendencies, where he likes to scramble, where he likes to look when he does scramble, all of those things. And I think that's certainly something teams have probably studied his tendencies on.
It really is amazing how top-heavy the AFC is, just with great teams and with great quarterbacks. And as we've said, and this is one of the reasons why it's so hard to rank the top 10, just be happy to be in the top 10. There are so many great quarterbacks right now in the NFL, and we should appreciate this era because we don't know how much longer it is going to last.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe.